That's okay. We know what the deal is. We're going to get it started. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Milan. I want to welcome you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you might be located. And I wanted to welcome you first with my camera view, and you'll understand a little bit more later why this might be important. But I wanted to introduce myself. So here I am. My name is Milan. I'll be your presenter and your host today for how to magnetize your dream man to you with the Secret Soulmate Signals 4-step signature process. So we're going to get started in just a minute here. And again, as a professional relationship coach, I have a passion for people, an insatiable curiosity for life, and a truly driving desire for freedom to be free and to live free. And I look forward to the next 60 plus minutes with you. Have some fun, share some incredible insights, and give you some wonderful information that you can take out there and put into your life starting right after we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the webcam and get started here. So once again, my name is Milan, and I want to welcome you to how to magnetize your dream man to you with the Signature Soulmate Signals 4-step process and much more. So let's get started. First, what I wanted to do was give you a big thank you. So thank you so much for showing up and for being here. Your time is very valuable and it is very much appreciated. And I want to make you a promise that you will walk away with clear new insights about men to help you better date, relate, and go down the path of partnership and mating. And here's how. Today we're going to focus on the first date or the first dates dialogue, meaning practical information, hands-on information that you can use on your first, your second, your third dates. And in that process, we'll be helping you learn how to read men's signals clearly. We'll be focusing on real-life situations, solutions, and lessons to help you grow and build your ability to find, attract, and keep relationships which are built on lasting love. So let's get started. Go ahead and turn up your speakers, grab a pad and pen to take notes, and remember this seminar is packed chock full, so buckle up and be ready. Also, if you would please, if you're not on your mobile phones, your cell phones, please put your phone on vibrate and type ready in the chat box. Ready. Ready, 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 ready. All right, let's get going. So what makes this different? Well, it's being shared by me, and I'm a man who understands men's signals. And what also makes this different is that I married my dream soulmate, so I live and breathe this stuff every single day in both my personal life, my family life, and in my professional life, where I have helped hundreds of women from around the world to find and attract their ideal men and how to keep them. Now, this is for women who want to find Mr. Right. It's okay if you're just looking for Mr. Right now, but it's really the ideal place and environment for Mr. Right. And it's okay if you're not Barbie. It's okay if you've got baggage. It is okay if you're feeling rusty or even if you've left all hope behind. Not a problem. If you're someone who's got zero dates or you've been dating zeros, you get to start right here, right now, for quick wins to be able to move forward powerfully, easily, quickly, and better than you ever thought possible before, especially with quick wins. Now, what needs to happen from your end is you must be willing to look at what didn't work in your past. And you must be able to get clear on what you don't want and what you do want right here and right now so you can connect in new ways. You must be willing to connect in new ways and to learn new communications models, or at least simple communication scripts. And from a mindset standpoint, you must leave all self-doubt and self-judgment behind. Now, I'm sure you've come across all kinds of colorful men in your past. And in order for you to get past that point and to live in the today, to be able to plan and design your tomorrow, you want to become the woman who deserves and who can attract her dream man. So please keep that in mind, because you are about to discover some amazing information, including the signature Soulmate Signals 4-step process to help you tune into your perfect man. And for those of you that are digitally dating online or doing the whole dating online piece, we're going to give you one spam filtering dating profile line that can stop 90% of the non-serious men who are wasting your time and clogging your inbox from being something that you end up attracting in with just this one simple line. We're going to help you with a totally unconscious and common tell about how physically men may just be attracted to you and be into you. We're also going to tell you what his eyes are telling you about what he's really saying, what he's really thinking, what he's really feeling, and whether he's interested or not. And this is really priceless, especially for those of you on first dates or doing pre-get-together video chats. We're going to cover the magic boundary bouncing mini script for being able to enforce your boundaries throughout the entire dating process and share your wants and don't wants without hurting or offending men. And we'll cover the advanced training where I personally coach you step by step to attract and build lasting love with that Mr. Right. And you'll get lots of practice. Now again, back to the mindset piece. We can't solve a problem by using the same kind of thinking we used to when we created them. Albert Einstein. What does that mean for us right here, right now on this webinar? Well, it really means to come to this information with a clear set of fresh eyes. Clear, clean perspective. Leave everything that you've heard or thought about behind and just look at this with fresh eyes. Now, as far as Milan, me, well, am I really successful with this stuff? Well, my best credential is that I married my own dream soulmate. So on a personal level, living from the inside out, I absolutely owned this process because I live it each and every day of my life. I practice what I preach in my personal intimate partnership, in my family life, and professionally with my private clients. And this is a wonderful picture of a family trip up to San Jacinto. We started in beautiful desert Palm Springs at about 105 degrees and took a tram all the way up in minutes to a beautiful, cool mountaintop setting that was about 65 degrees, cool and temperate. So from super hot to nice and cool. And it's fantastic. To be able to live your life and to be able to live it with your dream gal is absolutely an amazing blessing. And it carries over. This is a picture of pure love for me. This is Naseet and Gavin bonding. And on a professional level, yes, I have helped women just like you. Women who've dated zeros like Lillian Kwan, who had 0 dates. I was ready to give up on the idea, she says, of meeting somebody. Yet after a few weeks of working with Milan, I started noticing a difference in me. And now in 4 short months, I have attracted the gentleman I call my soulmate. Thank God for bringing this wonderful coach, Milan, into my life. Now, aside from Lillian Kwan, it also helps women just like Laura Ann Riley, who was dating zeros. And she writes, before working with Milan, I was feeling a lot of fear regarding moving forward in my career and romantic relationships. Today, I have 5 agents, I'm in a fabulous relationship, and I'm making more money than I thought possible in my career. So this is not only about moving past dating zeros, it's about moving past having zeros in your bank account as well. This is a very holistic process. It is focused clearly and cleanly on attracting and tuning into your ideal dream man, and it can have a wonderful carryover to the rest of your life. And not only is this for women who had 0 dates or were dating zeros, but I've also helped women who were in relationships like Kelly Jarvis of Queensland, Australia. She's a gal who was already engaged, yet struggling to get what she wanted. And she writes, my relationship with my fiance is at an incredible point, and the coaching I've had is working wonders for my sex life. Now, it wasn't only her sex life that ended up improving. It was a tremendous improvement across the board. And all of these gals got started right here. So if you get nothing else, get this. To attract your dream man, you must first learn to read men's signals accurately. Now, ironically, when I got clear about women's signals, it led me to help women read men's signals because I helped a friend learn to read her man's signals, and that led me to this, which has become my passion and my professional calling ever since. And my journey took a very long time, more than 3 decades, 35 years. You can start seeing results today. And here are some concrete lessons that you can benefit from my journey along the way. So I married my college sweetheart. Storybook church wedding. I ended up getting a beautiful Armani tux. I got a Ford 56 Sunliner convertible. We got married in my family church. It was an amazing day, followed up by an amazing honeymoon in Mexico. 10 years down the road, 1994 hits, and there was the Northridge earthquake, which rocked Los Angeles, and that year my life was tremendously rocked. In January, there was the earthquake. In February, I almost died in a really spectacular car crash. In March, my wife and I separated. She left on her birthday, moved out, never to come back. In April, we liquidated our import-export business. In June, my dad died of a heart attack at a wedding reception at that same family church very suddenly. And in August, my mom lost her job. 1994 was truly an incredibly challenging year. And when I had a chance to sit down and reflect back on 1994 and the previous 10 years with wife number one, what I discovered was the situation that basically encompassed a great deal of the dynamics in our relationships. What happened was we had small and big fights about a variety of issues, including being late to places. I hated being late. She liked to take her time getting ready, but we never talked solutions up front before these situations came up. And it always ended up being a source of relationship friction during and after going places. And other issues came up over and over again, and we just kept fanning the flames of discontent with each other until they turned into wildfires. And over the course of 10 years, what did I learn looking back on the situation? Well, the solution was clearly how to prevent these wildfires. And how that could have happened was we could have carved out more time to connect, to negotiate, and to communicate. I could have asked her, what can I say or do to help you get ready on time? We could have agreed on an earlier time, so if we were supposed to get there at 6, I could have said, hey, we need to be there at 5, and if we were running late, we would then actually be early or on time. Or we could have just agreed that sometimes we were going to be late and it was okay, and other times we were going to be on time because it was important. But whatever the circumstances could have been, we could have used this approach to every situation, apply this solution, and get the lessons and the learnings. So we just kept barking at each other over and over again until finally we just had enough. So how do you prevent wildfires and stop barking at each other? Well, the learning is basically, remember, if you don't develop effective communication, you can't build and grow compatibility, and then it starts dissolving or disappearing. So it's like barking at each other over and over again. If you don't learn to negotiate and agree on your wants and your don't wants, if you don't design win-win outcomes and agreements, and if you don't renegotiate, you'll just keep barking at each other instead of coming up with mutual desired outcomes to resolve those issues and to keep your agreements in place. And this is where I learned to build long-term bonds and grow a relationship stronger, and so can you. If you don't learn to use effective communication to build long-term bonds and grow the relationship through agreements and resolve your differences, then the relationship will dissolve. So I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship where you had too many fights or you felt like you didn't have the skills to make it work like we did because we were young and just learning on the learning curve of life and relationships. That you ever experienced what it was like to have compatibility, which you had and you knew you had. You didn't know how you had it, but you knew you had it because you were getting along. And then slowly, as you kept barking at each other over and over again, over all kinds of situations, you saw it slipping away when the same issues kept coming up over and over again. So we drifted apart. I don't know if you've ever felt like you were just drifting apart with somebody day by day over years or even decades. Or maybe you know what it's like to have hurts or wrongs and resentments creeping in, and then over time the relationship fatigue just sets in. And you just felt like you didn't resolve your issues, so your relationship dissolved. And at the end of it all, you felt like you were better people, but it still didn't work. Why? Well, the frustration of not being able to communicate is exactly what led me down the personal development road in 1990, which led to this passion and being able to help women read men's signals clearly and cleanly. So even though we amicably went our separate ways with no lawyers and just a lot of hurt and pain and missed opportunities, I learned effective communication is a must. When effective communication dies, so does everything else. And what I learned to do is to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. And until I discovered a clearer and a cleaner way of effectively communicating, that wouldn't change and didn't change. Wow. And then as I was recovering from marriage number one, I rediscovered love. It was like life was giving me another chance, another shot. And by 2000, I was engaged again and heading for another wonderful adventure with wife number two. This time, it was going to be different. And this time, I helped to realize another few items off my bucket list. The first time around, as a very big romantic, I proposed to wife number one in Florence, Italy, on bended knee with champagne and a rose right by the River Arno. In marriage number two, we got married in a fairy tale kind of setting at an Italian castle at the top of this little town, and this is the actual castle in Peretto, Italy. We had to jump through a whole lot of hoops to make this happen, but it did happen. When you have a will, when you have a drive, when you have a desire, then you make everything happen. So wife number two and marriage number two was amazing. Started off with an amazing honeymoon in Italy, and life was good again. And then it was about 10 years down the road, and wow, I realized we were heading for breakup. What were the missing pieces? Well, the situation this time wasn't communication, because communication was at the very foundation of our relationship. This time, compatibility didn't end up slipping away because we discussed compatibility before and during marriage, and we only had 2 fights in over 10 years. We lived together successfully. We had fun successfully. We had a financially successful family building time. We had a home. We had multiple homes. We took lovely vacations together. We had none of the same communication or compatibility issues I had experienced the first time around. But the missing pieces were that we lost physical and emotional intimacy very quickly within the first year. Less than a year after we got together, we had lost physical and emotional intimacy, so we weren't meeting each other's needs and wants in those very specific ways. So we got along great and we kept living together like best friends, but it was really like best friends without benefits. So what were the missing pieces and the missing links? Well, that was the situation. We lost our connection and we lost our chemistry. What was the solution this time around when I had a chance to sit down and reflect back? We could have found more ways to reconnect with our hearts and our bodies and to read each other's signals better, because this would have made all the difference in terms of long-term success. We could have planned and played more on date nights. We could have agreed to spend less time building our material wealth and more time staying connected emotionally and physically intimate with each other. And we could have focused more on our partnership well-being as husband and wife, as soulmates, as partners, instead of so much on building a material well-being set, which is we were chasing that American dream. So what were the missing links? Well, they were definitely connection and chemistry, because they faded. And what was the learning? Compatibility and communication are not enough by themselves. You need connection and chemistry because they are the missing links to long-term lasting love and keeping things alive and fresh and vibrant. Because when we lost connection and chemistry, then those two pieces died. Why? Because when you lose connection, you cut yourself off from everything else. And when you lose chemistry, you just become best friends without the physical intimacy, or best friends or friends without benefits. So the learning here was, while compatibility and communication are essential, they are not enough by themselves. Connection and chemistry are the other missing pieces and missing link to the whole puzzle. So I don't know if you guys have ever experienced those kind of not too hot, not too cold, Goldilocks type of situations where you were either fighting all the time, or there was no fighting but no passion, where the passion was running hot or hardly any passion was there, or intimacy after the first couple of months or year or two, where you went from not getting along to getting along great and having these wild pendulum swings from one end to the other. And all of a sudden you thought you had fixed the problem, you had dealt with the situation, you became a better person going into it the second round, and somehow you ended up at the same place again and relationship fatigue set in. If you've ever experienced what it's like living together but losing that connection and that chemistry so that you end up being like lifetime best friends and roommates, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where you're drifting apart day by day over years, and you end up at the end of it all realizing you still want a lot of the same things, you just don't want them with each other. So what's the takeaway here? We never learn to read each other's signals very well, and that's why it's amazingly important that two people who want to move forward in dating, relating, and mating and have a significant partnership and a significant other in their lives, we have to learn to read each other's signals. And if you don't keep that connection strong and vibrant, then it'll just go away. And when you disconnect, you cut yourself off from everything else. So there you have it. After more than 2 decades, 25 years, I was done. No more marriage for me. I'm going to dedicate my life to my son Gavin and to helping my women clients read their men's signals so they can find, attract, and keep that magical I dream person in their lives. However, what I didn't realize is that life had other plans for me once again. How did I know this? Well, I took about a 5-year hiatus, and during that time I had quite a few short-term relationships because I was clear I did not want to go down the same road again. So for me, it was all about realizing that, you know, there's got to be something else, but I need to take time to heal. I need to take time to let go of the past, and I really need to figure out what went wrong. Because the biggest challenge for me was I had lost quite a bit of hope. And so I needed time to recover, and I took the time. In the meantime, as circumstances came up, I made it clear I was not interested in long-term relationships, and I was all about dedicating my life to Gavin and to my professional coaching relationship situation and desire to make sure that I helped other women to read men's signals clearly, because for those 5 years, I really didn't want to get back into that long-term game. But then I was actually teaching at a workshop on communication, and lo and behold, I met Nasit, my true soulmate, the one and only for me. And when she showed up at this workshop that I taught over 7.5 years ago, we met, we talked on the phone, we had a first date, and it was amazing connection and amazing chemistry right off the bat, like nothing I'd ever experienced before. It was as if life had presented me with an opportunity to kick up my game to a whole new level. And this time I got it right. So after 7+ years and counting, being in partnership, in marriage with my dream gal, Nasit, I got it right. This time was different, and this time I was going to make sure it worked. Now, what made it different? What made it work this time? Well, some of the beautiful little pieces that showed up as lasting love in action were I cooked for her all the time. I love to cook for her. It's one of my love languages. We would take beach walks and talk and talk and talk and keep that connection, keep that communication channel going, and make sure that both the compatibility and the chemistry had this beautiful life balance. She would get me little cute presents like this pillow that says, "You are the cheese to my macaroni," and "You are the horizon to my sky," and "You are the gravy to my mashed potatoes." And to this day, I love that pillow and I cherish it. It's like a beautiful positive anchor every time I look at it. But what really made it different and what really made it work this time is that I was able in those 5 years to put together the essential steps to soulmate attraction and lasting love, and they became clear to me. What are they? They're knowing what to do, how to do it, and when to do it, as well as how much or how little to do it. And we're going to break that down for you in just a moment. Again, what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and how much or how little. And why is this so important? Because when you get the what, the how, and the when, then you can really step up your game to the one. And it all starts with connection. Step 1 of 4 is connection. And with Nasit, in the first 2 years, when the connection was amazing and the chemistry was just off the hook, we would touch and it would just be like hand holding, and the electricity would just be like nothing I'd ever experienced before. So the first 2 years of living and lasting love with Naseet were really up and down, up and down, up and down. It really required me to be able to stay focused and stay grounded and make sure that I kept communication as a dial. So the one big takeaway from this webinar about connection is you must learn that connection is not an on-off switch with somebody who is a long-term potential partner, ideal, dream, soulmate. It's a dial. You dial it up, you dial it down, but you don't turn it on and off. And for those of you that are just getting started and are just kind of figuring out, hey, you know, I'm way at the beginning here at the dating stage, well, that's great, because here's a first date dialogue connection question that you could use to connect with somebody at a very basic level and yet allow that connection to be more of a dial. So here's the question that you want to ask on a first date, second date, third date type of dialogue to allow you to really focus on building connection with that person. You say to them, or you ask them, tell me about your work and what do you enjoy or love most about it? And then you want to send a message of connection through body language by looking him in the eyes, smiling and leaning forward, and listening intently while you keep smiling. This will allow you to dial up the level of connection as you listen for the answers. Because once you build connection, you go to step 2, which is to explore compatibility. And with compatibility, that's where the first 2 years with Naseet, my ideal dream mate, really took us. So the connection was phenomenal. The chemistry was phenomenal. We ended up putting the chemistry on hold so we could explore compatibility. Why? Because I learned from the first 2 go-arounds that you have to make sure you address compatibility in order to move forward in relationships. That's why it's step 2. And the biggest takeaway here and the biggest danger is you want to make sure that you treat your deal breakers like landmines. So with compatibility, the 4 basic elements under compatibility, A, B, C, and D, if you will, would be what are your wants, what are your don't wants. Those are negotiable, and then there's your must-haves and your deal breakers. And you have to make sure that you uncover your deal breakers through the process of dating and relating with somebody, because if you don't uncover them and discuss them, then what will happen is they'll be like landmines and they'll explode. So you want to make sure that you get in there and you get your deal breakers clearly and clearly communicated so you can get them out there before they explode. And for those of you that are just getting started, here's some great first date dialogue compatibility questions. So write these down. What do you love most about your life right now? What fun things do you do when you're not working? Tell me something about where you grew up and what you like about where you're living now. And then come from a place of sharing yourself and let him know what you like to explore or do. I like to take hikes. I like to go to the movies. I like to go out for dinner. I like to take walks. What do you like to do? What do you like to explore? What are 3 things you like to do or explore? And then finally, what are 1 or 2 areas in your life that you want to most improve and get better at? And these 5 different types of questions, I'll give you a chance to write them down, are incredibly essential. Why? Well, because they help you to filter on a directionalized way what somebody is like and whether they're a good fit for you. So once you get clear and clean on your wants and don't wants and deal breakers and must-haves, then you want to be able to explore compatibility, especially at the dating stage, to make sure that you guys are a good fit and a good blend together. And these 5 questions will give you that. What do you love most about your life right now? What fun things do you like to do when you're not working? Tell me something about where you grew up or what you like about where you're living now. Share things that you like to do and explore, and ask them what things they like to share and explore. And what are 1 or 2 areas of his life that he wants to most improve and get better at, because that'll tell you a little bit about where he's struggling or if he's really ready to let you know some of the places that he might be needing improvement. And then once you have that sense of connection through either the first date dialogue or just that natural, amazing kind of love at first sight piece, then you got connection, you've built compatibility, then it's on to chemistry. Now, the most important takeaway from chemistry, because when chemistry explodes, all kinds of amazing things happen. What you want to make sure is that you don't confuse compatibility for chemistry. Why? Well, because when you confuse compatibility for chemistry, you're possibly making the #1 biggest relationship mistake you can. And what's that? That's getting physically intimate too soon, because physical chemistry is an incredibly powerful love drug. When you release oxytocin and you release that love drug into your system, and all of a sudden you're just flying high, well, that's going to make you think that you're just in the best relationship you've ever been in. And what happens then? Well, it gets seriously, seriously confusing. Why? Because when you lead your connection strategy with chemistry, all of your wiring gets soaked in pheromones like oxytocin. And when that happens, you are hijacked. When oxytocin is released into your system, all your other signal receptors get bathed in love drugs, and your ability to read other signals gets completely hijacked. You get so hooked and bonded physically and chemically that your ability to explore other ways of compatibility just go right out the window. And your ability to practice effective communication do as well. So what's happening here? Well, believe it or not, your body, your mind, and your heart space have been totally hijacked by chemical bonding through physical intimacy, and you'll be on an amazing high. So you'll be on a great high for anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days to a couple of weeks. And then when you get off that high, what happens? Well, you're back to looking at compatibility. And I also know this on a personal level, because in that 5-year hiatus between wife #2 and the beautiful dream soulmate in the seat, I ended up doing this very thing and thought I was just head over heels. And it was a long distance relationship. The biggest learning was when we actually started spending time together, we were completely not compatible. So here we were thinking that it was amazing, and then it was just a lot of really difficult, challenging heartbreak, and it took a couple of years to extricate ourselves, all because we got physically intimate way too soon. And by doing that, it was an incredibly painful yet rewarding from the standpoint of learning. I learned just how, on a personal level, bonding and putting chemistry and confusing it for compatibility, how difficult it can be to get out of it, because it is incredibly powerful. When your mind, your body, and your heart are hijacked, well, guess what? There's no way out for a while. And so what happens is that love drug takes over, and sooner or later, you've got to get back to pursuing compatibility using step 4, which is communication. Because communication is really the effective glue or the corroding acid for both short-term and long-term relationships. The first time around, I realized how important communication was because I didn't have it. The second time around, I realized how important communication was because it allowed me to really make sure the compatibility was there. It is also the same tool that is used for connection and to build long-term chemistry. So even though it's step 4 of 4, communication is really there throughout. The most important thing here is that you connect first, then you explore compatibility. After you've explored compatibility, then you explode the chemistry, and then you use communication to be able to connect at an even deeper level, to be able to continue to pursue and explore compatibility at ever deeper fits and blends, and especially to make long-term chemistry possible. And if you don't learn how to communicate in a clear way that he understands, well, then from the dating process on, you will see that it'll end up being more of a corroding acid, just like time after time after time, and then fatigue sets in. So the takeaway here, if you don't learn how to communicate effectively in a clear way that he understands, you'll corrode your connection. Once you corrode your connection, you basically cut yourself off slowly but surely from everything else, including compatibility and chemistry. So it's amazing. You know, my journey took decades, over 35 years. But because the signature Soulmate Signal 4-step process is designed to be so straightforward, you can get there quicker, better, and easier. And your journey doesn't have to take decades, and you can start getting the steps today, because we've already started outlining the process for you. And what makes this process so powerful and different? It is the what, the how, and the when. And most importantly, when you get the 4-step signature soulmate signals process down at a very basic level, and you figure out the what, the how, and the when, well, guess what? Then your next choice in a man can be your very best choice ever. Very best choice ever. You can step up your game and find yourself and reclaim your power as a woman, as a lasting love, searching, beautiful being. Why? Because the 4-step signature soulmate process allows you to get this stuff, practice it, and then be able to kick up your game so your next choice in a man can very well be the very best choice ever. And once again, starting with the basics, you must learn to accurately read men's signals first. And reading signals is the very thing that helps you to dial up your connection and not treat it as an on-off switch. Now, the reason we start with the signals is because the first barrier to success at the core of a relationship for a woman is in learning to read a man's signals correctly. Research from the University of Pennsylvania, from Cornell University, and from a variety of other sources suggests that 95% of success after learning how to read those signals clearly is making sure that you cleanly state what you want and you don't want, and then you communicate that information without emotional drama or trauma so that you can have everything you want. And why women first on reading men's signals? Because men by design are hunters and problem solvers. We are not great communicators and initially don't really know the format in terms of connecting cleanly and clearly. We may have left the cave, but the cave hasn't left us. Women, on the other hand, are by nature designed as natural communicators. That's exactly why I work with women to help them read men's signals clearly. Because when a woman learns to read a man's signals clearly and sends clear signals back, the frustration in the loop actually lifts. And when a woman can clearly communicate her wants and don't wants, then everyone wins and the relationship can bloom, because women are the natural communicators in the man-woman dynamic. So let's get on to reading the secret signals and decoding the signals that men are sending you. And we're going to start with the eyes. Why? Because the eyes are the windows to the soul. Anytime you walk into a room, anytime you are in any place, whether it's inside or outside in public, one of the things that happens is men communicate a tremendous amount with the eyes, and pretty much contact almost always starts with the eyes, and the eyes are the windows to the soul. So the first way of figuring out whether he's interested in you is to look at his eye contact and how long he's doing it for and how intense it is. Why? Well, again, the research shows that if somebody is looking at you in a date, let's say you're in a first date situation, you're sitting down and you're trying to gauge, you know, how much eye contact is he really maintaining? Well, the rule of thumb would be if it's less than a quarter of the time, then he's either not interested in the conversation, in the date, or in you. If it's somewhere between a quarter and 3/4, then that's ideal. Why? Because that's the range in which you know the focus is just right. If it's over 3/4 and you're on a first date, well, then that's too much. And what that basically means is he's way too into you and into your space prior to sufficient intimacy being established. So you're looking for a blend here. So if it's too little, less than a quarter of the time, not good, red light. If it's more than 3/4 of the time, then it's too intense for a first dating situation. And again, red light. Somewhere in between 1/4 and 3/4, that's where you have the kind of Goldilocks range. Now remember that when you move in the dating process forward, then deeper kind of gazing is really something that you can experience, and it's a profound and intimate experience. But that's a little bit further down the road. Initially, eye contact and duration and intensity of eye contact will tell you whether he's interested or not. Less than a quarter of the time, not interested. More than 3/4 of the time, way too interested too soon. Somewhere between a quarter and 3/4, just right. So that'll tell you the secret soulmate signal number 1 will tell you if he's interested or not. Secret soulmate signal number 2 is eye position, because that gives you an insight on what he's thinking. How is that possible? Well, in neurolinguistics and neurolinguistic programming, what you learn is that basically the brain and the eyes are directly connected in such a way that what somebody is thinking is revealed by their eye position. And that is in the following way. If his eyes are moving up, so just like in the picture, not the head, but the eyes. If the eyes are moving up, then that means that that person, man or woman, it doesn't matter. In this case, obviously, we want to know what he's thinking. So if the eyes are positioning up, well, then that is accessing the part of the brain that's looking at imagination, that means making stuff up, or memory, which is recalling something. So if he's looking up, he's either making something up or he's looking to retrieve a memory. So depending on what you just asked him, you want to look for where those eyes are going. If they go up, it's imagination or memory. If they go down, then he's accessing his feelings or he's in his head talking to himself. So once again, up, imagination or memory, down, talking to himself or getting into his feelings. And if he's maintaining his eyes somewhere in the middle, well then guess what? He's mostly focused on the conversation and what's going on around him. He's focused on you and the date. So what he's thinking can be revealed by eye position. And one final time, up, imagination or memory, down, he's getting into his feelings or he's talking to himself and being in his head, or in the middle, he's focused on the conversation and his environment and you, his date. So that'll tell you what he's thinking. Now, soulmate signal number 3 decoded is pupil dilation, and don't let this photo scare you because this one will actually help you to figure out what he may be feeling. So it's curious, but pupil dilation can tell us a lot about somebody's emotional state. How? Well, usually this is how it works. First of all, you have to be in a kind of medium lighting situation. If it's either too dark or super light and bright out, this won't work. But pupil dilation directly relates to emotional charge. And this usually works when it's kind of like a medium lighting environment. So when a man's pupils get very large and dilated, he's either getting strongly sexually excited or turned on or very emotionally charged, possibly in the other direction. So it's also a secret tell. Remember we mentioned the secret tell at the beginning? Well, when your pupils are getting dilated, the man unconsciously responds to that and is attracted to it. So you're also giving off this very same signal. But basically for you to read a man on a date or in a situation where you're having a conversation, if the pupil remains small, that'll tell you there's not much emotional charge or sexual charge. If the pupils get big, well then look out. It's either a very, very good thing or possibly a very, very bad thing, because that will tell you whether he's really, really, really getting sexually or emotionally excited, and that might be a very good thing in your situation or not. Just know that if you're close and you notice his pupils are getting really big, it could be a good or a bad signal depending on your situation. The other thing that happens is with the strong emotions, you can pretty much tell if he's connected and into it, and then you can start reading signals of compatibility. And that'll be soulmate signals number 4 and 5. So the next 2 signals will help you read and explore compatibility second. So the first 3, whether he's interested, what he's thinking, and what he's feeling, will help you with a level of connection to better guide you on either turning it up or turning it down. Soulmate signals number 4 and 5 will help you to explore compatibility. How? Because the duration of eye contact also has clues to his personality. How? Well, most of the time, extroverts and alpha males will maintain more direct eye contact, where introverts and unsure and passive men will maintain less direct eye contact. So how long he's maintaining eye contact over 1, 2, or 3 dates can help you to actually tell in a non-verbal way. So it's nonverbal communication from eye contact, whether he's an alpha male and an extrovert, or whether he is an introvert or a passive type, which will tell you based on the more he's looking at you directly, the more he's probably a strong personality in alpha. The less he's directly looking at you, the more that he's an introvert or passive. And finally, 5 out of 5 on the secret soulmate signals decoded is energy. And the most important thing to take away from energy is that yin energy leads with feelings and yang energy leads with thoughts. So ladies, when you're out there, gosh, so many women these days are spending an awful lot of time in their yang energy. Why? Because they're professionals, they're working for a living, they're supporting themselves, and these are all properties of the yang, the masculine qualities, the active, the creative, the hard, the bright, and having to get out there and really kind of dog eat dog kind of thing, or just survival. When you're out there in the world earning a living or following your profession, or working hard to getting an education and working and possibly being a single parent, well then all of those are reflections of yang energy. So remember, the takeaway here as a simple and clear rule is if you're leading with your feelings and then moving on to your thoughts, then you're leading with your yin. If you're leading with your thoughts and then secondly moving on to your feelings, then you're coming from your yang or masculine. And the basic properties or qualities of the feminine are passive, receptive, and soft. Of the yang are masculine, active, creative, and hard. And how does this really help you to empower yourself in the dating, relating, and mating process? Well, simply put, write these down. If you're leading with your feelings, as I just mentioned, and then you're moving on to your thoughts, then you're coming from your yin track. Now, first of all, when you step back, ask yourself, do I want to come from my yin or my yang when it comes to dating? So this is an important distinction for you to be able to come from a place of choice and empower yourself, and then get the clarity of how these two energies operate differently. Why? You'll see in just one moment. Write down that if you're leading with your yin, or you want to lead with your yin, or you don't want to lead with your yang, then basically put, you want to start with your feelings first. So when you connect and you communicate, you want to lead with your feelings and then follow that up with your thoughts. You want to lead with your don't wants on your thoughts and then move to your wants. So yin, or the feminine energy, start by discussing or talking about your feelings first and then your thoughts. If you're discussing your thoughts on your yin track, then you want to come from your don't wants first and then your wants. And a great statement that you can say from the yin track to orient somebody to be in their yang is, what can I say or do to help you do better? And the biggest piece here that I see all through our society, as well as with coaching privately on relationships, specifically women on men, is that women in their yin need to make sure that they're feeling good and that their needs are met before they start giving. On the other hand, a yang track person or a yang track man must demonstrate first that he's doing good, taking action to meet the needs of the yin before he receives. So the yin track looks to have its needs met first, and the yang track looks to make sure that the other person's needs are met first before receiving. The yin track is also soft, passive, and vulnerable, where the yang track is hard, aggressive, and controlling. So if you're looking at the relationship dance here, the important thing to know is that it's the yang that leads. So if you're taking the lead, if you're taking charge, if you're making decisions, if you're moving forward, then you're actually coming from your yang track. If you're not taking the lead, if you're being more passive and vulnerable and soft and allowing the other person to lead the dance, well then you're in the yin track. And so once you figure out which track you want to come from as far as dating, relating, and mating goes, then you know whether you're a yin female or a yang female when it comes to your dating choices and a sense of empowerment. It's not so important which category you fit into. Pick the one that you believe you fit in and you want to fit in, and then that's just perfect. Then you want to make sure you work on the opposite energy for the partner you attract in. Why? Well, if you either don't know, or if you're practicing both ends of the spectrum, both yin and yang, and going back and forth, then it confuses men and they don't know what their job is in the dating process and in relating to you. Then this in the dating and relating game leads to misunderstandings, which in turn result in arguments and hurt feelings, which is exactly why it's important to develop effective communication tools and strategies and scripts so you can avoid this very situation. Because if you don't, then that'll lead to dating disappointments and broken relationships down the road. So it's important. Pick a side as far as dating goes. And it's not like you're going to be 100% one or the other. You just want to decide predominantly which energy you want to come from. Do you want to be a yin female or a yang female? then once you decide that, you want to attract the opposite in the man you're dating. Why? Because yin and yang are opposing forces that support one another. And when yin and yang work powerfully together, they balance each other out. There's peace, there's harmony, and there's getting along, and then you allow all that chemistry and that compatibility to grow and blossom and get even more amazing. When yin and yang aren't working together, relationships get chaotic. So does the dating process, and it never seems to work out, and then you can't figure out why. So if you want to move forward effectively, cleanly, and clearly in your dating process, pick an energy side that you want to come from in the dating process. Otherwise, the balance won't be there. And if the balance isn't there, then you're creating a chaotic environment for yourself and for the dating process, and you might be a couple of dates down the road and you can't see it, you can't figure it out, whatever it is. Pick a side and then attract the opposite force to support one another, so you build balance, peace, and harmony in dating and in relating. So you can move forward to get to that point of mating, finding the partner, and then not only finding and attracting it, but keeping it. It's key. And finally, what we want to talk about is that beautiful digital dating filter. And here's the line to help stop 90% of non-serious men that you don't want to deal with from contacting you. The line is, please only contact me if you're willing to talk on the phone and then meet in person. Why? Because this is where you move to connection first. This is a powerful line because digital and online dating is really designed to set up a compatibility filter or compatibility descriptions. What you want to be able to do is immediately pick somebody who may be a compatible fit and move the process directly into the 4-step signature soulmate signals process by establishing connection first, and you can best do that by putting it right out there clearly and cleanly. So write this down. Put this in your profile. Quote, please only contact me if you're willing to talk on the phone and then meet in person. End quote. Again, please only contact me if you're willing to talk on the phone and then meet in person. Why? Because this establishes that you are all about don't waste my time. I only want to talk to serious candidates. That would be if you're coming from your yin. If you're coming from your yang, then you would reverse that and say, I want to only talk to serious candidates, period. Please don't waste my time. And again, that goes back to the yin and yang slide. Very important. Opposing forces need to balance each other out for peace and harmony. And this filter is designed to help you avoid all the people that are wasting your time. So now that we've covered the 4 different steps and we've covered the 5 different secret soulmate signals decoded and given you the spam filter line, let's look at some dating situations and dialogue practice. Because in this webinar, as well as the advanced training, practice is all about taking stuff and putting it into play so you can actually make it part of your real life process and find the kind of success you want and profit from it. So here's the situation. You're on a date with a guy when your date starts acting inappropriately and offensively. What do you do? And this is where, ladies, I would love it if you would chime in and tell me what you think the correct answer is. Now, little asterisk here, note to self. I know this may sound like a really formulated kind of situation, but it's designed to really help you understand and help everyone understand at a deeper level how we're making decisions, and both how this 4-step soulmate signature signals process helps you, as well as what we're just about to introduce in a moment, how that can actually help you start building that effective communication. But let's start here for now. Your date starts acting inappropriately and offensively. What do you do? Is it A, stay on the date, hope and pray things don't get too crazy and try to get through it as best as you can? Is it B, you try to engage the behavior and get him to stop acting inappropriately? Is it C, you excuse yourself to call a friend or to find a way to get the heck out of there? Or D, you just decide you're going to throw in the towel and fight fire with fire by matching the energy and going with the flow? So which is it, ladies? C, 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 C. Absolutely C. Now, again, look at the 4 choices. Stay on a date and hope and pray things don't get too crazy and try to get through it as best as you can. That would be actually a yin strategy, okay, because you're taking more of a passive position. B would be the yang strategy, which would be, I don't think so, and you engage the behavior and attempt to get the person to stop doing it, whatever it is. C is the best answer primarily because you're looking to say, hey, I don't like this. This is not something I care for, and I don't want to be around this. So you excuse yourself and get out of there. D is kind of just throwing in the towel and deciding, what the heck, when in Rome. And it's, of all four of those, the amazing thing is that you can use the Magic Boundary Bouncer mini script to help you regardless of where you start on those four. So let's say maybe you decide, okay, I'm going to hang out for a while. Now, when you have the Magic Boundary Bouncing mini script, you'll be able to get out of there very easily and very mindfully whenever you decide. If you attempt to engage his behavior, you can also use the Magic Boundary Bouncer mini script to do it in a way that's much less directly provocative. And if you decide to fight fire with fire, well then, as far as the Magic Boundary Bouncer mini script, it's something that you can use if you change your mind and decide to switch direction and say, no, I'm not going to go with the flow. I'm going to get out of here, or I'm going to do something else. So the Magic Boundary Bouncer mini script is really an amazing 5-piece script that allows you to get out of just about any situation in your dating and relating process easily, quickly, and cleanly. And it's this simple. 1, you say thank you, fill in the blanks. 2, you say I appreciate and respect, fill in the blanks. 3, you have every right to act, and to behave like you are, fill in the blanks. 4, I don't want that, and instead I want the following. And 5, will you, fill in the blanks, honor my feelings, honor my requests, honor my wishes. So in this scenario that we set up, it would look something like this. Thank you so much for bringing me here. I appreciate and respect that you want to have a good time. You have every right to behave as you want to. I just don't want to be around this kind of behavior. And instead, I'd like to go home or go somewhere else. Will you honor my wishes? So it's thank you, I appreciate, and I respect. You have every right to. I just don't want to be around this, and what I want instead is to be somewhere else. Will you honor my wishes? So when you're setting up your dating situations or your dating and relating situations, and you can use the Boundary Bouncer mini script to solve a situation, whether it's A, B, C, or D. How? Well, you can stay without actively engaging and hoping things don't get too bad, and then if they start crossing a boundary, you can say thank you, I appreciate and respect, you have every right, I don't want to, and I want instead, will you honor? And you're already at C. If you go to engage the process and you want to come from your yang, you can also use it. You can say, thank you so much. I respect and appreciate. You have every right. And then you can switch the two and say, I want to get the heck out of here now because your behavior is inappropriate and I don't want to stick around. Will you honor my wishes? You can actually use this for A, B, or D. At any point, you can use the Magic Boundary Bouncer mini script for just about every situation that you can encounter out there in the dating and relating world, because it'll help you build your effective communication third. So you'll be able to connect first, explore compatibility second, and be able to use effective communication as a tool third. And why? Because whatever real life situation you get into, there's basically 2 roads. There's the yes road and the no road. And the Magic Boundary Bouncing mini script can handle just about every no road that you're going down, so you know clearly in advance that you have something that you can use to clearly communicate, so that after connection is established, if you have or haven't gotten to compatibility, you can use effective communication to get yourself out of the situation. How? Simple. What do? You say yes or you say no. If he wants your phone number, if you say yes, you give it to him. If you say no, you can use the Magic Boundary Bouncing mini script to say no. If he wants to ask you out on a date, you say yes, great. You say no, use the Boundary Bouncing mini script. He wants to come over to your place, or he wants you to come over to his place. If you say yes, great. If you say no, or at some point After saying yes, you want to change your mind or your feelings have changed and you want to say no, use the boundary bouncing mini script. He wants to come in at the end of a date, coffee, other things. Yes, great. No, boundary bouncer mini script. Now when he calls to cancel plans or he shows up really late or he doesn't show up at all, the magic boundary bouncing mini script also helps you to figure out how to communicate so that you end up staying as a welcome mat, a place where you are able to say, I welcome all these situations in, and if the behavior is inappropriate or somehow I don't like it or it crosses a boundary or a deal breaker, well, there you have it. So if he's screwing up, how many strikes do you want to give him on the dating process? If it's 3 strikes, which is a good benchmark, great. After 3, it's thank you. I appreciate and respect. You have every right to behave like you're doing. I don't want to be around that. Instead, I want this instead. Will you honor my wishes or some version of that? And you use the boundary bouncer mini script to stay a welcome mat and to avoid and prevent from becoming a doormat. Why? Because it will help you to effectively communicate when things get a little bit difficult. So when you're saying yes, great, say yes. When you're saying no, then know that as of today you have the magic boundary bouncing mini script as one of your tools to use to be able to say no respectfully and mindfully regardless of the situation that comes up. So now you've got your Soulmate Smart Dating Checklist. You know you're going to establish connection first and you're going to start reading eye signals to gauge his interest, and then you'll use it to be able to get an idea of what he's thinking or what he's feeling. You're going to ask specific questions so you can find out more in terms of building compatibility or certainly exploring it. And instead of asking open-ended questions, you've gotten some concrete types of questions you can ask to get more information at a greater level of depth and get it quicker, faster, and easier. And then once you've established good connection and you've started to explore compatibility, well then how many dates is it going to take for you to say, okay, moving forward, yes, no. If you're going to move forward, then make sure you have a great connection and basic compatibility set up, because after 3 or 4 dates or 5 dates or 6 dates, whatever your criteria is, if it's not there, boom, you know you've got the magic boundary bouncing mini script to be able to use it to communicate your don't wants and what you want instead. If you're coming from your yin, or if you want to come from your yang, you communicate your wants and then your don't wants instead. So now you have your checklist ready to go and your boundary bouncing mini script ready to communicate when things aren't the way you like them, if your needs aren't being met, or if you're just not finding that connection and compatibility sufficient enough. Move on, don't waste your time. And this is the basic signature Soulmate Signals 4-step process. Connect first to read his signals and to gauge his interest and yours. Connection is a dial, not an on-off switch. Explore that compatibility to create your very own soulmate attraction blueprint, which we're about to get into, so you can outline and get clear on your wants and your don't wants. Then develop effective communication third and make sure you explode chemistry last. Because when you design effective communication and you explode chemistry after exploring compatibility, well then you're able to evolve your communication and build the relationship and keep that glue that allows you to resolve and communicate rather than getting things dissolved with connection and everything else. And when you raise your game and explode chemistry, then you'll be able to use even greater effective communication to keep that chemistry flowing for years and decades. You never have to lose connection. You can always keep chemistry, and the honeymoon never has to end. It does take work, but it is worth it. I know because I practice it and I help my private clients practice it as well. So what is the Soulmate Attraction Blueprint? Well, simply put, you want to get clear, and here are the questions you want to ask yourself. What I want most in my partner and my partnership is. Write these down. What I want most in my partner and partnership is. What I don't want most in my partner and partnership is. So it's the same question, and you substitute in what I want most, don't want most, my absolute must-haves, my absolute deal breakers. Want most, don't want most, absolute must-haves, absolute deal breakers. These are your boundary lines and your negotiating points for using effective communication to help explore the match and the blend for ideal compatibility. So you can get your needs, wants, and desires met because you've got them outlined clearly and cleanly so you can communicate them. And here's the format you're going to use. You're going to get a piece of paper, blank or line. You're going to draw a T down the middle. Or you can use Excel and design this into a spreadsheet, which is what we do for you in the advanced training. The Soulmate Attraction Blueprint step-by-step process is listing out your top wants in a relationship, and then to the right column, that would be in the left column where you put your top wants in a relationship are, and then in the right column you put down why this is important to you. This want is important to me because. You do that for all 1 through 10. Then you go to your don't wants. You write them on the left side. You write down why you don't want this or why this don't want is so important to you on the right. Your must-haves go on the left. Why the must-haves are important to you go on the right. And finally, your deal breakers. So basically separate the page into 2 columns, and in those 2 columns on the left side, write down what your wants are, your don't wants, your must-haves, and your deal breakers. And then on the right, as a corollary comparative to that very line item, you're going to write down why that particular want, don't want, must have, or deal breaker is important to you. And now you have the basic Soulmate Attraction Blueprint outline ready to do step by step. So when you're looking at the Signature Soulmate Signals 4-step process, what's important is that you explode chemistry last. Because if you explode chemistry first and you don't explore the compatibility through effective communication, then what will happen is when the chemistry fades, you will end up with the love drug wearing off, kind of like a relationship hangover, and you'll realize, oh my God, I have to explore compatibility now. If it's there, great. You can always dial back the physical intimacy and explore the compatibility. If it isn't there, then you've just gone down the road of getting into an intimate relationship before you really explored compatibility, and that can be a difficult place to pull back from. Now, if you don't connect with a dial and it's an on-off switch, what happens? Well, you disconnect, you connect, you disconnect, you connect, you disconnect, you connect. What happens then? Well, then you put compatibility, chemistry, and communication all at risk because they can fade during the off cycle period. What happens if you're disconnected and the other person is trying to communicate with you? Guess what? Works just like the internet. Connection with people works just like an internet connection. If the internet is disconnected and you can't get information from the internet and you can't send information, the same thing happens with people in relationship. When you want that internet connection to stay on, maybe you're not using it sometimes as much and it can be at a low level, but other times when you want to get information or you want to share information, you need that strong connection. That's why it has to be more like a dial. It has to be a dial. It can't be an on-off switch. When it's an on-off switch, things will start fading and all kinds of problems will arise, and maybe it's years down the road in the relationship and you'll be wondering what happened and what went wrong. If you don't develop effective communication, well then the connection kind of like, well, what are you going to do with it? So the connection is your access to information. Effective communication is your ability to exchange information, to read signals as well as through connection, as well as to communicate back what you want to as a result of reading those signals. If you don't develop that effective communication, then compatibility and chemistry can be lost through misunderstandings, fights, and a lack of resolve to learn and grow, and then things dissolve, the glue rather than the acid. And if you don't practice things in the right order of the what, the how, and the when, well then keeping it fresh and vibrant become much more elusive and challenging, especially over time. So on the dating front, maybe it's not quite as important and you can you have those trial and error pieces. But in a long-term relationship, if you've decided somebody is potential life partner candidate, well then you want to make sure you've got it down, what you want, how to do it, and when to do it, and how much to do it. Those are incredibly important pieces because the Signature Soulmate Signals 4-step process is all about connecting from your heart instead of communicating from your hurt. It's learning how to be able to share your feelings and your needs and your wants clearly through that effective communication while staying respectful and without provoking men and without the emotional drama and trauma and without the fear of rejection and abandonment and criticism, because the Signature Soulmate Signals 4-step process is all about helping you get everything you want. And it starts with making sure you've got the 4 C's in the correct order. Connection first, compatibility next, chemistry last, and effective communication used more and more and more throughout the process. Now you've got the signals decoded for how to connect, how to be able to get some compatibility pieces in play and use the Magic Boundary Bouncer mini script as your one-stop shopping mini script for effective communication when you want to say no. So when you want to say no, now you know you have the boundary bouncing or the boundary bouncer mini script to use, because it's all about learning how to negotiate agreements and actions and expectations so that you get your wants and needs met, so you can keep the relationship and the dating process vibrant, growing, and glowing. Ultimately, it's all about not settling for mediocre men or mediocre relationship. It's all about making sure that you're able to build that mindset to believe that you deserve to attract the ideal man, to find, attract, and the four-step signature soulmate signal process, four-step process allows you to both find them, attract them, and learn how to keep them over time. So now there's a basic choice for you. You can share this information and take it out, absorb it, go out there and do it yourself, or you can join us for the advanced training to get these basics and really practice, 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 and get them at a deeper level. So the advanced training is called the Soulmate Attraction Partnership. It's an 8-week program, and the goal is to allow you to get a clear picture of what that hard-working, heart-centered dream man looks like, feels like, tastes like, and you can imagine it, and then design a step-by-step practical, real-life situations way of seeing and feeling results each and every week towards getting him into your life and then being able to keep him. The 8 weeks is broken down into week 1 is your Soulmate Attraction Blueprint, where we design it together, uncovering your personal signature plan to attract just the right type of man for you. Week 2, we're tuning into signature soulmate signals at an even deeper level so you can take those simple steps and start seeing results to meet men wherever you go. Again, practice, practice, practice. And in practicing after week 2, week 3 is all about situational signal mastery. Why? Because we communicate by such varied means: text, email, phone, video chat, in person, and this will be able to help you with situational signal mastery at any phase of the dating or relating process. Week 4, clearly we have to be able to talk about and resolve conflict communication in a proactive way so that we can get to it before it actually turns into any kind of a wildfire. Preventing wildfires, having effective communication as a tool and a fire extinguishing formula that stamps out any of those misunderstandings before they even start or before they can burn down the relationship process or the dating process. You don't want to burn out on something, or you'd rather find out what those landmines are and avoid them. No need to exploit them and explode them. Week 5, the healing zone. After you learn how to resolve conflicts, it's about healing the past, getting practical steps for finally letting go of all that emotional stuff that may have been bogging you down as a result of past relationships. There's no need to bring the past forward. Look at the situations, get the solutions, and apply the learning so that you can really focus in on what you want and don't want today, so you can design your tomorrow and find, attract, and keep your ideal dream man to you without having to go through years of therapy. Week 6, now we're getting a little bit past the science and we're starting to get into the art. And part of it is the art of pacing your dating and getting the timing. So the signs that tell you he's ready to take the next step in your relationship. And again, not too fast, not too slow. Week 7, finally focusing on, is he the one? How are you able to tell, is he the one, so that you don't end up investing too much time, energy, resources, and effort if he's not? And finally, once he is the right candidate, how to get that situation so that lasting love is something that you can keep forever. And how long you keep it for depends on you. We'll give you the practical steps on how to take lasting love and be able to grow connection, grow compatibility over time as things change, and especially be able to hold on to that honeymoon feeling by having chemistry continue to be a powerful force in your life week, month, year after year after year to keep that relationship magic magnetic. So the 8-week Soulmate Attraction Partnership is live training webinars every week that'll be recorded, and you can play back in case you miss them, or play them back again and again to get more insights. There'll be home play or homework every week, so you get to practice, practice, practice. There'll be live Ask Me question and answer webinar time for you to be able to get all of your questions answered, which will also be recorded so you can get those questions reheard, especially if you're not able to make the live call. And we'll pair you off with another student so you can help get this stuff at an even deeper level by practicing with a buddy, an accountability buddy, to help you attract yourself to your soulmates even faster. Now, the investment. Normally, my private clients, if they hired me for the same one-on-one time for 8 weeks, that investment will be $4,752. But let's be conservative. Since we're working in a group format together in this environment, let's say it's about half of that, or approximately $2,376. Now, along with the 8 weeks for $2,376, here's some of the bonuses that you're going to get today. Bonus number 1 is a free pass to repeat the program by the end of 2016. So 2 for the price of 1, essentially, to be able to fine-tune your signals that you're sending at an even greater depth, filtering out wrong men even faster, and instantly sensing signals ever sooner. And if you're in a relationship, how to grow ever closer and closer by understanding deeper nuances in each other's signals. And you'll also be able to help all the other men in your life so they can give more and you can receive more of exactly what it is you want. In addition to bonus number 1, which is worth $1,188 at half price of the regular program. So if you were working privately and then we were working in a group setting and now you get to repeat that program again, now we're up from $2,600 to about $3,900 with bonus number 1. Bonus number 2, lifetime course material updates. Why? Because we want you to have the latest training videos, the latest cheat sheets or scripts, and the latest action steps to help you keep moving forward. This is about making sure that you are supported, that you have a lifetime ability to upgrade the materials, because once you find the right one and you start building that ideal dream relationship, we want you to be able to keep getting the latest stuff to be able to keep moving your game up and get all of your questions clarified on the course material that you can ask anytime. And of course, if you've got something to throw in there, we love to learn from you, and we can create something to support even more women out there, and that's a $497 value. Bonus number 3, lifetime access to a very special Facebook group that'll be for students only. This is designed to allow you to make sure you are never alone on the journey, so you won't be. It's a safe zone, and it's a place where you can get information, advice, and interact with your peers, other people who have taken the course and who are using the same tools and techniques, and occasionally we'll be running a fun contest. So bonus number 3 is a wonderful way for you to stay connected to community and be able to have that feeling of you will never be alone again. A $297 value. Bonus number 4, one-on-one lifeline coaching with me. You get 60 minutes of one-on-one time that you can use for up to 6 months. So if you're getting ready for a date, or you just had one of those I don't know situations, I don't know what to do next, and you're freezing up and you don't know what to do in the dating pool, well then guess what? You can have a one-on-one private lifeline coaching session with me for 60 minutes, and you can keep it in your back pocket and use it for up to 6 months after the course ends when it best suits you, and that's a $297 value. Now, there's more. Bonus number 5 is an online dating profile critique. Since a lot of you are dating digitally online, well, we'll help you get feedback from my partner, Sonny, who will be your personal copywriter who knows how to woo with words, and he'll make some suggestions, and then if you wish, you could take these suggestions and turn them into suggested changes that'll help you repel the wrong guys and attract the right guys. Another $197 value. And nope, we're not done yet, because this is the first time I'm taking this out into the public, aside from working with my private one-on-one clients. I need you to be successful, and we can share your stories with future potential students. So as a charter member, you're going to get some stuff as extra bonuses that other people will have to pay for. and that includes the SOS Text Me for Fast Answers bonus. This allows you, whether you're having a dating emergency or a burning question and just can't wait for that week's question and answer webinar, you'll be able to text me and I'll get back to you within 2 hours. This is truly priceless. For my private clients, you have no idea what a difference maker this is, and that's a $397 value. And bonus number 7, a private date debrief after the date. So what will happen is if you're feeling nervous before the date, then you'll get a dynamic date planner session with me. That's bonus number session, so that we can design the date together. So you'll feel so much more empowered and confident when you go into the date with crystal clarity. That's a $97 value. And then after the date, bonus 8, we'll debrief from the date. What did it mean? What did this mean? How come this is going on? What's this? Because so much can happen even in a short amount of time, and you'll be able to save hours of reflection and get the insights. We'll have quick calls that'll be designed for pre-date dynamic date planners, and then after the date debrief with me. And finally, bonus number 9, ongoing coaching support. That's right. Each and every month for 24 months, we're going to do a coaching call to help you be able to continue to move powerfully forward. This is a huge bonus. $5,346 spread out over 24 months of coaching support. So after the program's done, all 9 bonuses are yours, and this number 9 bonus will keep you on the right path long term. Total value, $10,789. That's $10,789. And for those of you that act quickly, for the first 5 people only, you'll get a second hour of one-on-one coaching time with me for an additional $297. And for the first 10 people that sign up, you'll get 1 extra dynamic date planner session. So 2 dynamic date planner sessions with me, another $297. And what's your investment? It's not going to be what you thought it was. It's not going to be $577 or $1497. What is it going to be? It's going to be $397 in 3 installments, or a one-time investment of $997. Over $10,000 of value for either $397 times 3 or a one-time investment of $997. Now, for those of you that are thinking about this and saying, gosh, wow, you know what? I just might want to go with a little bit less support from a financial standpoint. Great, no problem. You can get started today for only $247 times 3. 3 installments of $247, and you will be able to get the same program, but with a little bit less support. You won't have the 24 months of coaching support. You'll get 6 months, and you won't get the text access to me. So either $247 times 3 or $597 one time, and you can get started on this program with less support. Now, the best part of this entire advanced training, it is 100% risk-free. So don't have to decide today. If all this is calling to you, if you really resonate, if you can see where I'm going and you want to be a part of it, don't decide today, because you can consume all the material or the information for up to 4 weeks. And if by the end of the 4 weeks you are not 100% happy with what you're getting, or you're just not happy for any reason, or your circumstances change and you're not able to continue, no problem. For whatever reason, email us at support@secretsoulmatesignals.com by the end of week 4 and ask for a prompt refund, and you got it. Keep all the bonuses except for the Facebook group as our gift to you. So we wanted to make sure this program has you here. Where is it here? Imagine it's 5 years from today, and there you are, sitting down, celebrating 4 years of amazing bliss. Why? Because you took the advanced training, you put it to use, you had the ready, willing, and able attitude, and you absolutely kept pushing forward with reading signals and connecting first, with being able to build that compatibility, using effective communication to build that trustworthy track record, and to make sure everything was clear, clean, mindful, and respectful. So you're at dinner, you're clicking with the glasses, Happy 4-year anniversary, baby. You're sitting next to the ideal partner. You have an amazing relationship. You've never known it could be like this. On all cylinders, everything is working. Does it take work? You bet. Are you guys working through things? Absolutely. But you are absolutely and positively in the best relationship of your life. And you know that going down this path was the best investment that you made in yourself. So check the date today, November 1st, and ask yourself, where are you going to be in 2 months? Are you going to be 2 months later, just another weekend day, and there you are, there you have it? Or will you be graduating from the course with a group of women that feels more empowered, with more choices, knowing how to say no respectfully, mindfully, and being able to clearly and cleanly communicate their wants and their don't wants? So there's your choices. Work with us, come on board, and do the Soulmate Attraction Partnership shared by me, a man who lives and breathes this stuff and who's coached hundreds of women to it, through it, and be able to strive out the other end to thrive in amazing relationships. Investing in yourself, being able to get real world results, starting as soon as the first week with a personalized blueprint and action steps to be able to match your unique blend of compatibility, sitting across from you day in and day out, waking up in the same bed, knowing you have a lifetime of support so you'll never be alone again, with lifetime course material upgrades to get the latest and the greatest tools and information to be able to find, attract, and keep that man. Or the other choice is to fly solo and do it yourself. If you do decide that, please, this is amazing information in this webinar. Put it to work for you today and see what happens. Yes, you're going to save some money. Yes, you're going to save some time. Yes, you're going to save some energy and some effort by not investing in a faster, better, easier way. Is it possible? Absolutely. I did it. It took me 35 years to get here, and no doubt in my mind, if I can do it, you can do it. So you'll save time, you'll save money, and you'll save effort and energy, and you'll simply go by the trial and error method. So if you're still wondering, on any level, is this really for me? What if this doesn't work for me? Well, then do yourself a favor. Test drive this course, and you'll have 4 weeks to change your mind, or if your feelings change, you get your entire investment back, no questions, no hassles. So if you're going down this road, then we want to see you, and this is how to sign up. So right here, right now, go to http or just www.secretsoulmatesignals.com, join SAP, Soulmate Attraction Partnership. Now this offer expires in 3 days, so it may say October 28th, but it's really going to be November 4th. So this Wednesday, the 2nd, 3rd, 4th at midnight, it expires. Wednesday, November 4th at midnight Pacific time, and the fast action bonuses will expire in 30 minutes or just about the same time as the question and answer session. The classes will start November 14th. November 14th is when we'll start the classes, and this offer again expires Wednesday in 3 days. Now, if you're wondering, how do I sign up for this? Well, let me tell you right now. We're going to pull up on the screen. When you click on that link, you'll be led to this page right here. And when you go to this page, it says the Soulmate Attraction Partnership Secure Quick Response Form. Now, when you get there, what you'll be able to do is go down to the bottom and scroll, and you'll see the same 3 testimonials there along with all the bonuses. And you will go to the bottom and decide which one you're going to click on. So for the premium, you'll click on $9.97 one time and select here. For the deluxe package, you'll click here, and you'll get the $5.97 one-time payment. So when you click on that, you'll be taken to a page here, and you'll simply create an account with your email address and your password. When you do that, you'll receive a receipt within a couple of minutes with your payment. And then you'll receive a welcome email within the next 24 hours from my partner, Sunny. And the Soulmate Attraction Blueprint worksheets will be instantly sent to you after the welcome email, so you can get started immediately. And if for whatever reason you have any issues with the sign-up process, please send us an email at support@secretsoulmatesignals.com. Again, that's support@secretsoulmatesignals.com. So click on here, and then once you click on the payment, you'll be asked to put in your email address and create a password. You'll press continue. Once you do that, you'll be signing up, and then within minutes you'll receive a receipt from Payroll, and within 24 hours you'll receive an email welcoming you from my partner Sunny with the Soulmate Attraction Blueprint. Momentary freeze. Soulmate Attraction Blueprint outline in the handouts. That's what I was trying to say. Jeez Louise, Mom. And once you have that, then you'll be on your way, and then we'll start on the 14th. We'll start on the 14th, and that's absolutely when we'll get going. So now what we're going to do, we're going to bring it back to the question and answer session, and in doing that, I'll get you back to the right slide. In the meantime, I want to thank you. Whew, I love this stuff. I really love this stuff. The most amazing thing is that this information has changed my life. And the advice that I can give you that helped change my life is that I took the chances. I took the shots, because it's the things in life that we don't do that we regret the most. So I love this stuff, and it's helped to make the most amazing difference in my life, and most importantly in my private clients' lives. And now I'm kicking it up to the next level. I want to make sure we get this information out to as many people as possible, so making it much more affordable and being able to see a lot more people be able to live down the road of successful relationships, living with their ideal dream soulmates is amazing. So let's move on to the question and answer session and see what we have here. Okay. Question number 1. Milan, I've met somebody and we've become intimate and we're having sex, but we haven't really discussed compatibility. What do I do? That's a really great question. I did cover that briefly as far as how to dial things back. So let's cover that. Chemistry, confusing chemistry for compatibility. First thing is, I guess, decide if you're interested in a short-term or a long-term relationship. If you don't know, then let's just say it's a short-term relationship for now, okay? In the short-term relationship, the most important thing is to make sure that your needs are being met. That's also true in a long-term relationship. The only difference is you might have different needs, wants, and expectations. So if you want to dial back from chemistry to be able to start exploring compatibility, then 2 things are important for you to know. First, there's going to be a painful withdrawal process on the chemistry piece from the oxytocin level of pheromones that are getting dumped into your system. And when that happens, you might go through withdrawal, so it's kind of like an addiction in a way. You just might be going through withdrawal, so just know that. What you want to do is you want to actually set up a meeting time. You want to get together and say, hey, I want to talk about some of the things that are important to me, and I want to set up a time and a place. I would keep it neutral. I wouldn't say his place or your place is ideal. I would say maybe somewhere that's semi-public and semi-private where you can sit down and talk. And I would do a Soulmate Attraction Blueprint immediately before you get together, outlining your wants, your don't wants, your deal breakers, and your must-haves. And if you're joining us for the advanced training, then within the next week you'll be able to have all that outlined for yourself, especially with the handout materials you'll be receiving shortly within the next 24 hours. And that will have you point blank right on. After that, within the first week, you want to fill that out, set up a time to talk, and just let them know that what you want to do is you want your heart to feel safe, and you will have some things you want to share from your heart. Great question. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Milan, I'm not sure if my picker is broken. I get it. I get it. I guess, again, one of the most important things is to kind of look at the 2 sides of the coin. One is your driving desire, and the other one is kind of like a sense of desperation. Loneliness, you know, for those 4 or 5 years between wife number 2 and the seat, it was really tough. There were plenty of times I was feeling alone at the same time feeling very wounded and hurt and raw, and I wasn't sure. So what I did was I looked for companionship, and I don't know if I thought my picker was broken as much as I was just kind of done with the process after 25 years and feeling like I'd invested a lot of time and put all kinds of strategies into play. I just didn't feel very successful. So if you feel like your picker is broken or you just kind of attract the wrong type of people, this is where the right kind of energy is amazingly important. And believe it or not, while conflict helps to build character, clarity helps to build a tremendous amount of confidence. So I'd say you just need a little bit of confidence, and the best way to get your confidence up is through clarity. And the best way to get more clarity is to sit down and do a soulmate attraction blueprint. Write down the magic boundary bouncer mini script, and know that what you want to do is you want to go out and practice dating, even if it's with somebody that initially you don't think you might have a lot of compatibility with, but you want to get out there and just practice using some of these tools and some of these questions, and just be able to practice them and feel like you're getting out there. Because if you think your picker is broken, being alone and kind of isolated and not hanging out with people is probably not going to help you move forward. But getting these tools down, using them to help build your clarity, and then going out there and practicing it will help you to develop a sense of confidence. And that in turn will start building up your sense of empowerment, and now you'll have choices, so you won't be kind of coming from I don't know what to do. You'll know exactly what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And then especially if you're joining us at the advanced training, my God, within a few weeks, you're going to feel like a whole new person. Okay, well, listen, I want to thank every one of you, each and every one of you. For those that are joining us on the 14th, they're signing up right now. Fantastic. I look forward to seeing you on the webinars and the Q&As. For those of you that aren't, then I truly thank you very, very much for being on this webinar. It's been truly an honor and a pleasure. I love this stuff. Thank you for being here, and I hope that all of your dreams do come true. So bless one and all. Thank you, and we'll see you out there. Bye for now.